Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Remote Work Vibes. My name is Rochelle, and I'm here to give you just a quick preview of what we have to offer as far as classes. I'm going to play this entire lesson for you just so you can see what this Excel class has to offer. Just let me know if you have any questions, and if you would like to order it, please send me a message and I can send you the link to gain access to all of our classes. It is $21 per month. You can cancel it at any time. I'm going to go ahead and let this play.
I always hear people talk about how useful Excel is for their business. I'm really looking forward to learning it.
It has some amazing capacity, and that's why it's one of the most popular business programs out there. You want to get started?
Yes.
Let's just go ahead and open Excel, of course. First of all, we're using Windows 11, so we'll click on that Start icon in the middle, and then we'll go up to click on Excel, and then we'll choose Blank Workbook.
So what should I use Excel for?
Well, first of all, Excel is going to be used for just storing the data. So we're going to look at how to do that. Then we're going to learn how to manipulate it. That allows us then to analyze it. And then the ultimate result is going to be to make good decisions off of that data. But first of all, we have to learn how to navigate in Excel. So let's start with that.
Okay.
So let's start by just looking at the interface. And probably the easiest way to do that is start up in the upper left-hand corner. The very first icon that you're going to see is our save icon. It's one of those floppy disks that we probably haven't seen in a very long time, but if you hover over it, it actually is just going to say save. Now this is part of what we call the quick access toolbar, and it has three buttons on it to start with: the save, the undo, and the redo. And we're going to be talking a lot more in depth about all of these elements in later lessons, so we'll just touch on them right now. As you move on down the title bar, you will see where it says Book 1, that stands for Workbook, and of course it tells us that we're in Excel. You'll see a search box, which will be very useful, and then I want you to move on down to where you see Sign In. Now, we just need to talk about the fact that there's a couple different ways that you can access Excel. So maybe you just went out and purchased Office 2021. It's just what we would call the standalone version. If so, you don't necessarily have to have a Microsoft account, so you can use it as is, or if you have a personal Microsoft account, you would sign in right here. That would give you the ability to use your OneDrive and maybe a few other features. The other way to get Excel is going to be through the subscription Microsoft 365. Maybe you purchased that, or maybe your organization did. If you have that, you will probably already be signed in by the time you get here, and you'll see your name right there. If it's not there, you would click sign in and just put in your Microsoft account. Still on the title bar on the far right side, you'll see some ribbon display options, and then you'll just see those three standard Windows options to minimize, maximize, and close Excel. Underneath the title bar, you'll see what we call the ribbon. So you'll see all those words across the top: File, Home, Insert. Those are the ribbon options, and then you'll see the commands for each one of those. Below that, you'll see two white boxes. One says A1 in it, and if you just hover over that one, that's going to say Name Box. And then the other one that you see that pretty much takes up the rest of the screen is going to say Formula Bar. And of course, we'll be using that pretty extensively later on here in Excel. You have your scroll bar down the right-hand side, so just like any other window, you can scroll up and down. Across the bottom, you have your horizontal scroll bar. You'll notice it takes up a little less than half of that whole bar across the bottom, but you can adjust that. Do you see the three dots? If you just put your mouse there, drag to the left a little bit, you'll notice that you can make that scroll bar larger, smaller, just depending on what else you have going on down there. Then, of course, that leaves less room for your sheets. We'll talk about those shortly. Underneath the horizontal scroll bar, you'll see the zoom, and that allows us to zoom in and out to see more or less data. Go ahead and give that a try.
Oh, so I can see more boxes this way and less boxes that way.
Exactly. So we'll leave that at 100% for now, but as I work, I'm pretty constantly changing that. So I may be hitting the plus sign, hitting the minus sign to see more or less on my screen. To the left of the zoom box, you can also change your view by clicking on those three buttons. So we're in normal view, and that's where we're going to spend far and away the majority of our time working in Excel in normal view. Much later when we go to printing, we'll look at the other two. And then we have the status bar. If you look down in the lower left-hand corner, it says ready. This is our status bar. A lot of information is going to be showing up down here as we work. So we're going to keep an eye on that status bar as we go through.
So above the status bar, it says Sheet 1. What is that?
So an Excel file is actually called a workbook. So the idea is you can have a book with a lot of different related data in it, and it can be subdivided into sheets. So we can have sheet 1, and then you can turn the page and have sheet 2 with a different set of data.
Got it. So is that what you were talking about before with Workbook 1?
Exactly. So the default name is going to be Book 1, and again, we just refer to each file as a workbook.
Got it.
And then I'm sure you've noticed the grid in the middle. We call those cells, and that's where we're going to store the data. Now, we don't have any here because we opened a blank workbook. Let's go open one that already has some data and talk about that a little bit more. So we've opened the Regions workbook. Let's take a look at some of the data that's in there and how we can move around. So first of all, we already mentioned that you have cells, and the cells are identified by rows and columns. Of course, the column is the letter, the row is the number, and we identify it by its column, then its row. So for example, Northeast region is in cell B1. If you click there, you'll see that the B and the 1 are both highlighted, so it makes it easy to tell. So there's several ways to move from cell to cell. Now you just clicked in it, so you know how to do that. But you can also use the keyboard, and when you're entering data, you're certainly going to want to be able to use the keyboard. So let's start with the Tab key. Click Tab.
Oh, it moved to C1.
So the Tab key is going to always take you one column to the right.
So how do I move up and down?
So let's start with the Enter key. If you use your Enter key, that'll take you one row down. A slick trick is that you can use the Shift key with the Tab and the Enter. So right now, do Shift Enter.
Oh, it brings it back up.
And try a Shift Tab.
And it brings it to the left.
So the Shift is just going to reverse that direction. Another way to move around is just with the arrow keys. So you have the directional arrows up, down, right, and left, and that's an easy way to just move a few cells over as well.
So if I want to see more of the Southeast region's data, do I have to keep clicking the down arrow?
Well, you could, but nobody's got time for that. You could also scroll, but you will find that I don't scroll a lot in Excel. I like to use the keyboard. So another option is using the page up and page down keys. Go ahead and use the page down key. You'll notice that it actually takes you a screen down. You know, it's not a printed page or anything, but it takes you one screen below what you can see. Let's try it one more time. And now you'll notice you're down at row 42.
So to go back up, I just hit page up twice.
You could, and that would work. But let me show you another trick if you just want to always go to the top left corner, which is cell A1. Hold down, do the Home key on the keyboard.
Nice.
Click in G4, if you would, where it says Totals.
Okay, guys, so this was a very basic level Excel tutorial. If you're a little bit more advanced, there are tutorials that will take you to the advanced level, but this is for the beginnings, for the beginners. And it covers many topics, including creating a workbook, entering cell data. So it does get a little bit more advanced as you reach the end of the courses. So please let me know if you're interested in this training. Sign up for it. I can send you the link. It's $21 per month, and you can cancel at any time. These are the courses that when you complete, you can also add the certificates and skills to your LinkedIn and also to your resume. Thank you.